welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. My name is Meg, and today I'm going to show you how to get a flawless base perfect for winter if you have dry skin. I have super dry skin, so I figured I would share some products that work great for me and some different techniques that work great, because if you have dry skin too, you know things can get a little dry, a little patchy, a little flaky. So hopefully incorporating some of these steps into your routine, it can help save face. And I also like looking glowy and dewy year around, and I also think that it's like so pretty in winter with like snow and like the lights and stuff, and just having that highlight really pop out. Anyways, if you're just curious, if you don't have dry skin, these are some tips that you can incorporate to your makeup routine too to help you. I'm going to show you how to apply everything that I'm wearing for a base in today's video. If you're interested in eye stuff, check out my other videos. I have so many tutorials. Don't forget to subscribe before we get started, and let's roll into it. Now that we have Luna joining us, the first step is skincare and moisturizer, especially with dry skin. So at night, I've been using Celestial by Lush. It's like a thicker moisturizer. And then for during the day, I'm a huge fan of the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Gel Cream. I get mine for extra dry skin. In the summer, this is what works for me at night and during the day, but in the winter, I definitely need some more help at night. This moisturizer is a perfect base for dry skin because it's going to hydrate you, but it's also going to actually absorb into your skin, dry down, you're not feeling tacky or anything, so your primers and foundation can go on top with no issue. I already cheated because I was thinking about it as I was patting this in. I should probably film this, but I also use my Smashbox Pore Minimizer Primer. Why can't I ever talk in any of my videos? I've been doing this long enough, so you would think. But anyways, I just take the littlest amount and I just push it in right here because this is the area that I have issues with pores. And for my regular primer, I'm a huge fan of Too Faced Hangover RX Primer. This is super hydrating. I probably put on more than I should. But like I said, I will take all the moisture I can get. So I just like to slowly work and pat this into my skin. This will leave a slight tacky base, perfect for foundation to stick to. I also like putting this on my under eyes and on my lid. Lately with my makeup routine, I've been doing my eyes first and then my face, so I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera and come back when I'm ready for foundation. I'll also give this a good amount of time to soak into the skin. Alright, now that I have the eyes done, and I just got so much glitter in this eye on accident, so you know, struggling as usual. Okay, anyways, now that my base is on, normally I would go in with like a strobe cream by MAC or this Shimmering Skin Perfector by Becca, but it doesn't marry well with the foundation that I'm using. And the foundation that I've been obsessed with lately is the Clinique Even Better foundation. I have a full-blown review. They'll be linked up above, but this is really great. It's not going to provide you a super full coverage, which made me nervous because normally I'm a full coverage type of person, but I've been trying, you know, the less is more route with foundation lately. So I just take a little bit and I'm just going to pounce this. Ooh, I forgot to cover up. Because it is not full coverage, I like to go in with concealer. This is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Vanilla, and like this I will cover up any other like pimples or discoloration, red spots I have on my face. I'll go over with this concealer first and then carry on. I'm also finessing this very lightly into my skin. I'm barely even holding on to the sponge, and I'm just letting the sponge do most of the work for me. So you can see it doesn't completely cover everything, but it does give you a really nice flawless looking base otherwise, and it doesn't completely mattify the skin. I get why dewy skin is in for summer because everybody wants to have a glow, but I don't like matte skin in winter. I'm just like, nah dog, no thanks. are your favorite shows that you guys have been binge watching? I binge watched this new Sabrina series when it came out, and I really enjoyed it, and I just want to go on like a little spiel about that because I hate anything scary. Like, I don't watch scary movies. Ironically, Halloween's like my favorite holiday, right? But like, I hate haunted houses, I hate scary movies, I hate horror. I like the kid movies, and I like the decorations. But anyways, I was kind of nervous because I saw so many people on Twitter. I watched it 2 days after it came out. I saw so many people on Twitter saying it was scary. So I was really nervous about watching it, but I just kind of like sucked it up anyways. I kind of cheated and looked ahead on Wikipedia to be like, what is this really about? And to me, it was like a mix of The Craft and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So if you can handle that stuff, then you'll be able to handle the show and watch it without a problem. But it was pretty good. As like wild and messed up as some of the stuff was on the show, it was very intriguing to me. It seems like overall a lot of people liked it, but then I've seen a few people say like the show was awful, it was sloppy, it was all over the place, the storyline didn't make sense, and I was just like, were we watching the same show? Alright, now that that is buffed in, I'm going in with my Naked Skin Concealer. And for concealer, less is more, especially for me. My under eyes do tend to dry out in the winter, and I am going to be blowing out my lower lash line, so I don't really need to pack a lot on to the lash line, if that makes sense. The more you put near your lash line, the more it's going to crease, so that's why I'm using this placement down a little bit lower and almost more on my cheekbones. And I should blend this down to my neck, but I'm not leaving the house today, so I don't really care. And I also have my translucent powder set and ready to go. Out here, this is the RCMA No Color Translucent Powder. And for my under eyes, instead of using the sponge, because again, that's a little bit harsher, I've really been liking this Real Techniques contour brush. So what I'll do before I start to blend it, because I personally have a lot of creases in my under eyes, so to prevent them from settling in, I have my powder ready to go on standby, so as soon as I'm done blending, I can set immediately. And then again with the sponge, I'm just dispersing most of the product out and about, blending it, and then I'm going to take, I'm going to zoom in, but you can see how there's really not that much product left right here by my actual lash line, which is what I want. So now I'm just going to take whatever is left and blend that in. Like I said, most of this is about to be covered with eyeshadow anyways, so to me it's not of that much importance to have the fullest of coverage right up against my lashes. So I'm just going to take a hair more powder and just lightly set this area. And because I have dry skin, and when it gets dry and flaky in that type of season, even using a brush can like pick things up or disrupt it. So I'm barely holding the brush and just using light wiggle motions to pat it into my skin. Taking an e.l.f. complexion brush, I am just going to take some powder, tap most of it off, and then I'm just going to, again with the lightest pressure, set this into my skin because it is winter, it is dry outside, but at the same time, I definitely want to have my base be set. I don't want it to be tacky or to get goopy throughout the day. So just using the very lightest amount of powder and just lightly dispersing it on my face is the best way to do this without my face turning into a dry, flaky mess. Once I'm done setting my face, I'm just going to fill my brows in off camera, and then we can carry on. I lied. Obviously, I'm back before my brows are on, but I just wanted to show you this one last step I realized I was going to do off camera. But before I get into it, I just want to talk about how important really soft brushes are, especially if you have dry, flaky skin. So I don't know about you guys, but foundation breaks up so easily around my nose. Like any sort of brush mark, it will pick it up. So this brush, again, it's from e.l.f. It's super inexpensive, like $3. It is super soft, and my forehead is also a danger zone when it comes to dry, flaky skin. So just having a really soft brush that you can do hardly any patting motions on is going to be key if you need to set your base during the winter and you have finicky skin. Then, to get rid of excess powder, again, this is an e.l.f. dual fiber brush. I'm just lightly going to swirl the brush around my face. This is just going to get rid of any extra powder, especially under my eyes. That is where I tend to have the most powder. And then on my forehead, again, this is barely brushing my skin because again, I don't want to disrupt that. And then on my nose, sometimes I'll even skip over my nose in the real drier months and I'll just leave it be. And then now you can feel free to move on to the next step in your routine. Before we move on to more powder, it is time to spray the face. Trust the process, especially if you have dry skin. I love this Morphe Continuous Set and Prep Spray. I feel like it locks everything in, but it doesn't completely dry down the face. I love Urban Decay All Nighter, but that can be a little bit of a drier setting spray. But if you really want dew, Vicks Plus is where to go. This Morphe spray is kind of in between, and I really like layering because it gives me the best results. And it also allows the powders to just really soak in and set into the skin. Now for contour, I'm going to be using my Tarte Pro Glow in the shade Sculpt. I love this. For bronzer, I use my Physician Formula Butter Bronzer. For blush, I have my Tarte Amazonian Clay in Expose. It is a nice muted rosy blush right up my alley. And then highlighters are a whole different thing, and we'll get into that in a second. So for my contour, I love using this e.l.f. Flawless Face Brush, because it's tapered, so it distributes product nicely for a contour. So I just kind of tap it around onto my skin. And I have my brush facing upwards, so most of the product is distributed right here where I want it to be the darkest, and then we'll just kind of fade out underneath. I prefer to do tapping motions over swiping because it can get a little bit, you can get a little bit carried away when swiping, and I think this helps it look a little bit more natural, if that makes sense. So I just kind of creep this up along my temples.
Patting it on is going to work great if you have super flaky or super dry skin because again, it's not going to disrupt anything or make anything look worse.
I also take just a hair right on my chin line and jawline. I always skip this in my videos because I feel like this is a boring part of makeup, because to me, I never change it. My eyes are always what's new and exciting and different. So again, I load up both sides of the brush, and then I will start at the center and go down, so most of the product is right here on the temple. And then I also will work it really into my hairline. That is why I like to do my hair after my makeup. For nose contour, in the winter, I will typically not really do it or just put some kind of bronzer on the tip of my nose because, again, my skin is finicky with foundation in my nose. Anyways, it's a hard process that likes to pick itself up. But I am taking a Luxie 207 brush and picking up some contour and just, again, patting motions going down the nose. In the summer, when I'm more hydrated, I can get away with, like, finessing it and blending it out, but right now if I do that, I know I will pick up the foundation on my nose, so I just go in with a very light hand and you can build it up that way. Bronzer is a slightly similar process to the contour. This is just a Sephora powder brush, and it's just a big fluffy brush because, again, I don't like anything too condensed because I don't want it to be super harsh, so using fluffier brushes, it's going to give you a lighter, more airbrushed coverage. So just swirl it around, and I go a little bit higher than where I put my contour. So for my contour, I was focusing here. With the blush, I'm focusing here. Again, I'm angling the brush to get the most product right in that contour area. I know there are plenty of people that like to do their bronzer first and then their contour. This is just what works for me, and because this brush is a little bit on the scratchy side, it can pick up. So instead of swooping back and forth, I will lightly stipple the product across my forehead, and then I will just take a hair right up around the bottom of my nose and whatever is left on my chin. I feel like blush is pretty self-explanatory, but even that people do differently. I like, again, to start and distribute most of the product here in the middle of my cheek, and then what was ever left, I will slowly work my way onto my cheekbones. But I like most of my color to be back here, and especially with this, it kind of just blends right into the contour and blush shades. And I will say, if you use the Amazonian clay blushes and you haven't used them before, you kind of have to work your brush into some of them, especially if they're more muted like this and they're not as bright, which is fine. I don't mind that. It's just a little tidbit. Now, before we go into highlight, I'm going to spray again. Trust the process. And I'm actually going to finish up my eyeshadow and then be back to finish up the rest of the face. Alright, now it is time to finish up the face. Of course, if you like a more matte looking face, then you can be completely done and call it quits. However, not for me today. So, yeah, I'm a little bit excessive when it comes to highlight because I have 3 different brushes that I use. So I'm first going to take this Morphe M510. This is a little bit fluffier. Here is the R36, so I just want to compare. This guy is older, so he's a little bit more fluffy, a little bit more blown out, not as tapered. So if you want a more natural glow within highlight, or if you want like something to really blend your highlight out, a fluffier brush like this is going to do the trick. A tapered brush like this is going to be really great for packing product on. So I love this Becca highlight in Moonstone. I feel like I've honestly had this for like 3 years now. It just keeps lasting and lasting and lasting. Yeah, it's a 2015, so I've had this for 3 years and I still have so much left. So while Becca highlights are on the expensive side, it's definitely well worth it because they last forever. I wear this every single time I do my makeup, which some weeks is daily, sometimes it's once a week, but more often than not, I'm wearing makeup more than I'm not. And I really do pack it on. I swirl it in here quite a few times. So I think that these are a good value because they just last for such a long time. So anyways, with this one, because I am using a fluffier brush, I kind of spread it around a little bit more. I marry it into where the bronzer contour blush is. I bring it right up along here. I can take just a hair and just put some right above my brow if I really want to. I will bring this down my nose. This is like my all over glow. Now for a more intense glow, I don't put this brush away, I keep it out. I'm now going to switch to the tapered brush, which is the R36, and I'm going in with Glazed Donut Highlight. Again, this is one I've had for a while. I got it when it first launched with Ofra, so this is another highlight. A little goes a long way, and it's another one that's just going to last such a long time. So for this one, I focus it more right here on the actual tip tops of my cheekbones. So you can just see how that's just like wha-bam. And you can just see the difference. Over here, I just look like I have nice glowy skin. And then over here, as soon as I hit some light, it's just really super reflective and bright. And then for this one, I also take the teensiest amount and I will highlight my nose with it because I do like to have a little bit more of an intense nose highlight. Also get the Cupid's bow. I already have lip gloss and stuff on, so I'm being kind of careful with it. Then if you feel like it's a little bit too much, you can go back in with your fluffier brush and just go over the edges and blend it into your skin. If you wanted this to be even more intense, you could have done another layer of setting spray before we put Glazed Donut on, put it on top, and it would make it look more wet and more intense. The last highlight that I'm going to use, I like using as a blush topper. There's nothing wrong with the way that my makeup looks now. However, when Dose of Colors collabed with Desi and Katie the first time around, I purchased the entire thing, including this Mirame highlight and also Fuego. Both are too dark for me because I'm so pale. Fuego I can get away with in the summer, but Mirame I definitely have to use as a blush topper, so I use this Luxie 522 tapered highlighter brush. I just take some and then I just pack it right onto the apples of my cheeks, and I will bring it a little bit into where we have that other highlight. So when I'm smiling, you can see that there's a little bit more of a glow on my actual cheekbones, and it's a gold tinted glow. So to me, it's a little bit more natural and warms my face up a hair bit more than bringing that white glow down, if that makes sense. Final step, of course, is one last go with setting spray because I want to be a little bit more highlighted and a little bit more dewy. I'm going to finish everything with Vicks Plus. You have to hold this guy away because it's a little bit of a camel spitter. And this one you definitely want to have a fan on standby. These handheld fans are great. They're like $10 on Amazon because before I just used to take like a cardboard, like a card from a makeup palette and like fan dry that way, but this is so much faster and easier. If you really wanted to like use this to really set your makeup in place, if you had a really long day, you could take your sponge that's clean and just very carefully and slowly go right on top the setting spray and press it into your skin. You don't want to swipe it because you don't want to disrupt all the powders and everything we just put on, but this can just really help impact everything on and make it last longer. And this way you're also setting that dew and that glow into place. I never do this. I just figured I would share it. And of course, the very last step. Trying to fix your hair. That is gonna wrap it up for today's video. I really hope you found this helpful and you can take some of these tips and tricks, incorporate into your makeup routine. You know, tag me on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram. It's MakeupByMegB everywhere. Tag me and let me know if you incorporated anything new into your makeup routine and how it is working out for you. I would love to hear from you guys. Leave me a comment below with what you would like to see from me next. Check out my other videos right here. Smash the subscribe button before you head out, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.